Yeah.
And it didn't work. It didn't work for me.
Didn't work for you. Would you say the one you got, Galaxy 4 or 3 or?
Galaxy 4. They do have a 5 out there, but why pay the extra money when I didn't need something that fancy or that new?
No, you got it. You bought it. Sounds
And I
good.
got the Galaxy 4 does have a version that doesn't have LTE, but I wanted to have the little better one. So I wouldn't have to have the phone with me all the time, even though I always do, just in case. And
Got
it's
it.
waterproof. I could be taking showers and I could be splashing around in a pool if I want.
We don't want to
Can't
know
be
about
can't be
we don't
scuba
want to know
diving.
about the shower and
Well, you want to know about the waterproofing. Otherwise, you got to
Well,
take it off
this
and
is
leave it
true.
somewhere. If I had a seizure in the shower, it's waterproof enough that if it's on my arm, I'm not going to worry about it. There you go. It
Yeah,
still gives
yeah.
you the support. That's what I'm talking about.
I get you. Okay, I'm going to get this meeting started.
Good night, dinner time. Adios.
Recording in progress.
Okay, welcome everybody to the October edition of the Tips and Tricks SIG. I'd like to welcome everybody, and tonight we'll have our open forum, and we'll go through. And Bob has got some new things he wants to discuss with us, as well as we'll go into some of the topics that I sent out to everybody. So I'd like to open up the floor with the first question of the evening. Anyone have one or a problem that they'd like to present to the group? And I know Pete's got something for us. Pete, what do you?
I'm dealing with a person outside.
Okay, so the person outside's got. Okay. Who else has got a question for us? The person outside must have a question, though. I Nobody's got a question. Nobody's got a problem. Oh, this is great. Okay, so tell me, does anyone know what really is the difference between a Core i7 and a Core i5?
Yeah, there's internal buffers and caches. There can be a little bit improvement in the cores and their efficiency. But generally speaking, i7, i9 are high-end versions. i5 is a general purpose, all-around processor, and an i3 is the budget processor.
Okay, so why would a person want to get an i7 over an i5?
Advantages would show up in heavy use like gaming and transcoding video, stuff like that, would be more hyperthreads, higher clock speeds, potentially supportive of greater amounts of RAM or at least better memory management.
Okay.
And if you use the security features in Windows 11 with the Hyper-V virtualization, you can get better. Now, I'm going to explain what core isolation is. That is not the isolation of the processor cores. It is the isolation of the operating system kernel and a bit of the shell. That they are now calling the Windows core. And it's a security thing just like PatchGuard used to be, where drivers are not allowed in if they don't have the TPM2 security signing and coding. And all that takes more processing. And it does it. The i7s can handle that more efficiently because they'll just shove it off onto another hyperthread, another core of the processor. Memory protection can work that way too. And these are all ways of preventing people from putting stuff into your firmware, into your hardware. There's more and more of our hardware that can be written to with firmware and with microcode changes. And we would never see it happen.
That's
and
right.
Our antivirus would never see it happen.
I was trying to help somebody that had exactly that happen. Even his printer was out of control. It was a USB inkjet. And he never could get rid of the stuff. I think he had one or more online accounts poisoned, so they knew when he was online. and they always found him, even when he was at the public library.
Oh, wow.
They knew exactly where he was, and they hacked in and would just drive him nuts. I couldn't really do much of anything for the guy because I'm not a cybersecurity expert or anything. But another thing you have to, and Bob brought it up some, not all processors are created equal. They have all kinds of ones from budget to the super performers. Some of them have cores that do have hyper-threading, and some of them have no hyper-threading, even if it's got multiple cores. So you got to do your homework as to what processor you got in your system for performance, just on that aspect alone.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. That was very good, informative information about the difference between an i5 and an i7. And I was asking because I have one PC, it's an old legacy machine, and it has an i5 on it. And, running Windows 10 is kind of sluggish, and I've done everything I can to beef the speed. And I thought, well, maybe I should just pull out the i5 and put an i7 in there. And I looked them up online, and the processor, the speeds are identical. Almost everything is identical, with the difference being the i7 has 8 threads and the i5 has 4 threads. And that was pretty much, to boil it down, that was the difference between the two.
Right, because the i5 didn't have the hyper threading and the 7 did. That makes a performance difference.
Okay. Yes.
And the way that works is we can no longer think in terms of clock speed.
Right.
We must think in terms of throughput, megaflops, things of that sort.
Okay.
How much data can the processor handle per second? We could get into very highly technical stuff like lanes on both the motherboard, your any add-on boards, and how many lanes connect directly to the processor. And there's 2 different kinds of lanes that it uses. I won't go into any more technical detail about it. It just means there's more throughput available.
Okay.
And that is typical of Core i7 and of motherboards tailored to it.
I guess when I was reviewing this, I was trying to see I was exploring, would I see it benefit by making a change here? And this would be when I'm doing my normal web browsing, or I hit enter on something and I wait for it to refresh, and then it finally refreshes. And I'm going, would that change if I put an i7 in here? Would it shorten that lag time? And I don't think it would be tremendously, because, as Tim had pointed out, it's only the applications that are going to take advantage of it that you'll see it in. And if you're doing just everyday web browsing and stuff, you really won't notice it. Am I on the right path here?
Yeah, very much so. Most of that lag might be from your internet connection and processing. At the same time, too, if you want to see a significant difference, just changing the CPU. I have 2 machines that came with Core i3 processors. I put in Core i5. You wouldn't believe they were the same machine.
Okay.
But now from 5 to 7, it depends on everything you're doing on that machine as to whether you're going to really notice a good performance above the 5 with the 7. And like Bob brought up, video editing would be an excellent one. It really consumes your resources. You got to have lots of memory, probably a minimum of 16 to 32 gigabytes of memory for that thing. And there are several other processes. If you get into like AutoCAD and stuff like that, that's very heavy on the processor as well.
Right.
And let's not forget the role that the motherboard plays. The motherboard also has to have the capacity for so much throughput.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get no benefit, just like me trying to upgrade my USB ports on my new PC. If the motherboard could handle that many lanes, it's great, and it did. But an older PC won't be able to do that.
And that's my suspicion, is I'll be gaining minimal, although the cost to purchase a used Core i7 was pretty cheap, like less than $40 for a processor. Of course, it's used and it's dated, but this machine is circa 2012, so I'm just trying to see if I can goose some more oomph out of it versus running out and buying a new machine. And I really don't have a need to go buy a new machine for this purpose.
Another thing, and I'm not saying it will give you much of any improvement, but one thing in particular with Intel processors and their motherboards, let's say that the board that's in your machine was one of the first for that generation, and it used, say, a Core i5 fourth generation. No, I'll say third generation.
Okay.
Odds are it will also take a fourth generation processor, but not a fifth or sixth and higher. There's differences in voltages, sometimes pin layouts and stuff like that. So you're kind of stuck to maybe 2 generations per motherboard. After that, you're stuck. So
yeah, I did look up the motherboard. It's a Lenovo system, and I looked up the actual motherboard to see what it would take, and it specifically called out the processors there that would take it. It did not say anything about a different generational change, so I wasn't looking at something like that.
They don't say that.
Okay.
See, my machine that I've been working on is an 8th gen, and the manufacturer's documentation says 8th gen, but I already know I can put in a 9th gen, but the difference between the two is probably going to be very minuscule. So why bother?
Right. Okay. Well, this was a fun discussion. Shall we go new question, new direction? None. Oh, this is a tough crowd here. Let's see. See if I got something here. Ba-da-da. I did have something I was researching, but I don't have it right up handy to me. It's on my tablet. Come on, somebody fill in the gap while I'm looking at something. Nobody.
It's 89 degrees out here.
Oh, there you go. So
By the way,
I can make the whole room jealous except for maybe one.
yeah. Well, it's only 58 here, and it's pouring like cats and dogs.
Right.
Okay.
Sanford,
yes,
excuse
sir.
me for 1 second. That older system of yours that's got the i5, how many cores is in that one?
4 cores.
Okay. The reason why I asked is some machines may have a 2-core, and putting in a 4-core will make a big difference too.
Okay. So one of the things I was researching was I wanted to upgrade from Windows 10 Home to Windows 10 Pro.
Yeah. All you got to do is buy a license.
I know that. So I was searching the web and found a couple of places out there that give you some pretty steep discounted costs for getting an upgrade for, or even a license for 2010 Pro.
Right.
And ridiculously cheap.
Mhm.
And I don't know if these are valid places to go and shop. Are they actually selling a valid product, even though they say they're OEM for OEM use?
Don't
Like
get
this.
involved in politics.
What? Don't get. Did we just get hacked there? No. Okay. So one was Good Deal 24, and they sell Windows 10 Professional for $7.59.
I've heard of a different site that has prices like that. I've wondered about that. I usually get a pro license for about $60.
Okay. And let's see, what was another one? Oh, this one. Buy one, get one free. Just trying to see if this other one had Pro and Office, and no, it didn't.
Well, the one where I get Pro for $60 also has steep discounts on various Office packages. I think 2019, but I'm not sure about 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, and as long as you can trust the site, it should be just fine.
I've well, on that one that I'm bringing up, I bought quite a few Windows 10 licenses from that guy. I wasn't interested in the Office, so I haven't tried that. And all they're selling, by the way, there's nothing physical. It's just the license number.
Okay.
Right.
Which is fine. I mean, you download the image from Microsoft and
That's
you go
right.
with it from there. As
Right.
long as you got the key, I guess that's legit.
Yeah. It works.
Yeah, in many cases, they're recycling used business or unused business volume licenses, but Microsoft has never objected to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've done a little research on the companies and, put out there, is it legitimate? And I'd never found anything that said no, they're not. So I think another one was BZ Future, but I can't seem to find what I was looking for on there.
I can't remember one site that I did come across that was real cheap, like the first one you brought up, Nat. But I was scratching my head thinking I might check into it, but I'm not really ready for it. I do have to have a license for Pro also on one of my systems.
Well, I've got Pro on my Windows 10, but when I bought the laptop, I actually bought it with, added on the Pro. It came with Home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you did the Pro upgrade?
Yeah. But I think I bought it like at Best Buy when I bought the.
Well, I think if you got a Home 10 system, you go to the Microsoft store, you can buy the upgrade to the Pro, but I
Right.
think it's still
Oh, yeah.
$100.
Yeah, it's pretty pricey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but at least you're sure, you have the peace of mind that it's full retail and that it's legit. Occasionally you'll run across a place that's selling OEM licenses, and then you will have more restrictions on it.
Okay.
And what you basically are looking for is a place that at least says that they'll give you your money back if it doesn't work.
Oh, well, actually, the one that I brought up, if the license number they give you because of the high volume of going through numbers doesn't work, you contact them, they'll send you another number. No problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
I've had that happen a couple times. And the second number they sent me worked just fine.
Yeah. So you know the site.
Yeah.
So I guess it says try and see.
More or less, yes. There is a little bit of gamble, but especially for like a license number for $7 or something like that, That's
do
like
that.
going buying a $2 lottery ticket, hoping you at least get a $1 million prize or
Yeah.
more.
You got to buy 4 of them, I think, or 3. But I get what you're getting at. Okay. Does we have some more questions, problems, situations? Pete, do you have
Yes.
something you wanted to report to us?
No, I was under the weather for a good portion.
Oh, come on. What kind of weather could you be under out there? Like you were
Nice,
under good
mild.
weather?
Personal weather. Personal weather.
Oh, I thought you were under good weather out there.
There's good weather outside.
Are you
I was
saying?
dragging.
Are
Yeah.
you
They
saying?
had the flu out there?
I don't know what I had, but I did go to the trouble of getting a home test for COVID, and I didn't have COVID.
Okay.
It could be the flu because Australia's been hit hard and it's headed our way. And you're ahead of us.
No, he's behind us.
No, we're isolated.
No, he's ahead in the sense that he's closer to the Australia traffic than we are.
Okay.
And
All
Bob's
right.
the safest at the moment.
So
If we don't have any questions for the group, does anyone, Bob, there's some things you'd like to show to the group or talk about?
Well, I'm not sure how much of this I really need to get into, but what I've been doing was talking to various CCS groups about how I have one computer that I upgraded to Windows 11 Pro from Windows 10 Pro, and I have another one that was originally bought with Windows 11 Pro. And really, in terms of how the desktop operates, it isn't any different. Windows 11 is different from Windows 10, and if people still have questions about how it's different, I can point out a few things that appear to be different. I have also recently done the upgrade, the feature update, 22H2. One of my computers had a hardware block, and actually it may have had 2 of them, whereas the new computer did not. So the new computer went straight through with 22H2. I haven't noticed any differences or any issues. The older one, there could have been a blue screen of death if I had forced it. It was due to a very common driver that Intel has for sound called SST. SST driver. And nearly anyone who's got an Intel Core or I think it's Atom processor has an SST driver. And the SST drivers interact with Realtek drivers and with Windows drivers and the display audio drivers. There's all kinds of different sound drivers all competing with each other. And when you plug in USB and try to do sound, all of a sudden they collide. And so there's an updated driver you have to get.
Mm-hmm.
From then, it can take 48 hours for Windows Update to recognize that, hey, you did update your driver and now you're eligible. Windows Update never notified me. The upgrade had been fairly recent, so I may have been within the 10-day window. And it may have been detecting something in Windows old that told it that the driver might not be up to snuff. But there was something else. It has since that time come to light that some printer drivers are also blocking some computers from being upgraded. There, it isn't going to cause a system issue. It's only going to cause the printer not to do all its things that it can do. And yet, Microsoft has put a block on those computers. I'm not going to go into details, but there's a registry hack that can unblock that. If you know that your issue is just a printer, it's okay to go ahead and do that. But if you don't know that that's the case, don't risk a blue screen. Don't force it. I did not force it. I just simply checked whether the update assistant. Does everybody know what the update assistant is with Microsoft?
Why don't you go ahead and tell us?
Okay, well, I can show you the website. It'll take me just a second to get to it, so I will start sharing my desktop.
Is this the update or upgrade assistant?
Update.
It works mostly with the feature updates. It might also work with a version upgrade, but what I will do is in my browser, I will get over to Microsoft Update Assistant. Now, why would it says Windows 10, but it really, let's see. I think maybe I want to be on something else there. That's the Windows 10 Update Assistant, which has been around for a while. I'm going to
Down in there it says
There was
Windows
one.
11. Were you looking?
there. Okay, ways to install.
No.
And this
Go
will.
back.
This is the support article that explains what it is.
Okay.
To upgrade to Windows 11, you have to meet the requirements, and this also applies to when you have a feature update. The installation assistant is what it is. That's what they call it. And let's see whether this link is to, the installation assistant. They talk about the three options there are. They want you to be notified through Windows Update so that you're really sure you're ready. And for Windows 10, you've got the PC health check and all that, and there are ways around it. I really ought to go to an article that will tell you about it. It's very close. All right, let's use this article. If you don't see the option to install 22H2, you can use the installation assistant, and they show you how. And the tool's purpose is to update computers to the new version of Windows 11 when they're not automatically receiving the feature update because of problems with Windows Update or for another unknown reason, which could be one of these hardware blocks. You may want to get something more than just fail or more than just the OOX whatever code, the error codes, which are very uninformative. So and they talk about how it's never a good idea to upgrade during the early days of a feature update, so you might want to wait 2 or 3 months anyway. You download the installation assistant. You double-click on the executable. Accept and install with this screen. Once the tool confirms that the hardware and software configuration are compatible. Actually, it doesn't do that first. It does that during the time when it says it's doing the install. It will go through the motions of downloading the files, starting the update, and then I hit about 72%, and it quit that and entered into a checkup screen, which was separate from the install screen. That checkup screen went out to Windows Update. It was looking to see whether there were any available driver updates. The first couple of times I tried, there weren't. And so it reached a certain percentage with Windows Update, and then it went to another screen that said, we're sorry, your hardware is not compatible with this update. So it's like, I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that. So that is the kind of thing that will happen. But if it works, it takes about 45 minutes, and it will go through that. And here's a video that's in the midst of all this. There are other things you want to look at. The tool is non-destructive, meaning it should save your files, but you should create a full image backup before doing any of this, especially if you think you might be having some problems. So when it finally went through, it didn't go to any extra screens. It just looked like the install Windows screens that you go through in an original Windows install, a retail install. And I might hazard to try to play this if it's short. And you might not get the sound. It's about 3 minutes.
Yeah, we're not getting the sound. There is a setting at the top of the page of your screen.
Setting, and where's it at?
It's oh God, I can't think now. There's a setting in the right hand.
Share sound.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me start it over and let's see if we're sharing sound now.
Hello everyone, in this video we're going to look at steps to install Windows 11 version 22H2 using the Installation Assistant. The Installation Assistant is a tool that you will normally use to upgrade a device to the latest version of Windows 11 when the computer is not getting the update through Windows Update. However, you can also use it to force an upgrade, in this case version 22H2. Just remember that if your device is not getting the update through Windows Update, it could indicate that the new version is still not fully compatible. This step are meant to upgrade a device running Windows 11, but it should also work to upgrade a computer running Windows 10, of course on a device that meets the minimum requirements. This process should not delete your files, but it's always recommended to make a backup before proceeding. Okay, here's how to upgrade to Windows 11 version 22H2 using the Installation Assistant. First, you need to open this Microsoft Support website. I will be leaving a link in the video description. Then, under Windows 11 Installation Assistant, just click the Download Now button and then save the file to your computer. Then, open the file location. And then just double click to launch the Installation Assistant setup. Once the setup confirms that your computer is compatible, you will see this page, and then the only thing you need to do is just to click the Accept and Install button to begin.
What they mean by determining that you are compatible is that you meet the minimum hardware requirements for Windows 11. And it probably will not be checking much further than that at this stage.
In the installation of the Windows 11 version 22H2. Simply click the Restart Now button, and then the wizard will take over and it will apply the new update on your computer.
So if it doesn't find any additional problems and goes through to this point, you are now doing what normally would happen in the feature update. What the Installation Assistant is doing is safeguarding you against and maybe informing you of things going on with your hardware mostly that might be a block, and it might give a little additional information. It can also reach out and update your drivers if need be. So it's already done all of this by this point. Of course, by this time, your computer has restarted several times and has gone through about 30 to 45 minutes of that black screen and the whirligig.
And that's it. We just upgraded to Windows 11 version 22H2. You can confirm that you have the latest version by opening Settings, and then on System, About, you can confirm that version is 22H2. And that is all there's to it. Remember to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, and I just hope this video was informative for you, and I would like to thank you for viewing.
Okay, so let me return my browser to its normal and upright mode. And let me grab this URL and stop share and put that into chat. I think all I need to do is that and that. And there you go with your URL in case you want to review that video again or read the article again. Now, are there questions about how that process works for the feature update? And like I say, in if you do go through Windows Update, you won't get all the information you'll get out of the out of the installation assistant. They usually recommend that if Windows Update doesn't succeed, you might want to use the installation assistant to get further ideas about why. But it will not give a detailed listing of you have an SST driver and that's why you can't do it. For that, you have to go online and say, oh, well, here's what my system is. Here's the error code. And sometimes, in my case, it did happen because it was so widespread, you'll get something in Google that'll be a good hit. So one thing I'd like to share, that my desktop looks a little different from this guy's desktop. And one of the little tricks that I did in Windows 11 on both of my PCs, you will notice on my taskbar, I don't have the icons in the middle, Mac OS style. I have them over on the left. That's a setting. It's a simple setting. I have not applied any third-party software to get this to happen. So the other thing I do want to show is, let me open a blank Explorer menu, and I'm just going to go to, say, my Documents folder, and the right-click menu. Let me get to a file. Look at the top.
Yeah.
These are your more common commands, items in the old right-click menu from Windows 10. This is cut. This is copy. This is rename. This is share, which we normally did not have so prominently. And this is delete. And if you do a shift, it's permanent delete. This is to the recycle bin. If you need the old options, you can also show more options and get all this stuff. So that's not really that difficult, but it is an interface change. And that's for Windows 11, whether you have 22H2 or not. And if you want to stick with the original Windows 11, you've got over a year before it expires. Okay, I return you to your host. Unmute.
Yep, unmute. Sorry, I'm avoiding any background noise. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. It was really good and very informative. Has anyone tried to do this upgrade?
The upgrade probably late this month or early next month. I'll be doing it for sure on one machine, and if I get a couple other things out of the way, I have a second machine, I'll do the same thing too.
Yeah, and I don't know what's in it, but Windows 10 is later this year going to have its own 22H2.
It's supposed
which
to
is
be, it's supposed to be this month.
Okay, so very soon, Windows 10 will get its own 22H2, and we're not entirely sure what's going to be in it, but we have a pretty good idea. And it's not the same as what's in the Windows 11 22H2.
My understanding for Windows 10 2022, I'm using the same naming convention as 11, is that it's no new features. So it's the basic patches, security patches, and maybe a little bit of eye candy or something like that, bells and whistles. Nothing spectacular from what I'm gathering. It'd almost be like, from what I'm gathering, pretty much like getting a normal monthly update and applying it.
Yeah, it'd be sort of like the old Windows 7 roll-ups.
Yeah.
There was a cumulative update today for October, as well as an update to .NET 6
Right. That's true.
that came out. So what's the difference for .NET 6? Does it replace all the others?
No, it doesn't. In some cases, it does, but not in all cases. It depends on the piece of software you load in and run. It may. I even just recently installed a piece of software, and it needed .NET version 2.
That's old.
Oh, it may be old, but it's the requirement of that piece of software.
I believe version 3 is still supported. Version 2, I'm not sure of. Version 1, if you have it, any upgrade to Windows 11 or 22H2 will remove .NET 1.
Yeah, and version 3, 4, and 5 have had updates to them this year, removing the old version.
Yeah, so they're still getting their security updates, and they're still getting their version updates, but not 1 and 2.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to bring up a question or a problem that I had last week on that I brought up to Westside about Windows 10 screensaver, and it's not working. In particular, I'm using the photo screensaver. It means it'll go and pull up photos and display photos as a slideshow. And this was brought about because this one software that I was using called Random Photo Screensaver had stopped working. I thought it was from an update that didn't go through properly. It was suggested I go and check my update history, which I did, and everything went in is just fine with all updates. I've had no errors or no failures on install, so I was wrong on that assumption that there was an update change that affected it. So I don't know why this particular software won't work. I've uninstalled it, I've reinstalled it, I've tried checking to see if .NET Fix is a problem. I've sent an email to the author of the software. I've yet to hear back from the gentleman or the person that wrote the software. But I do have a suspicion, and I don't know if this is founded or not, but somewhere buried in the documentation, it said something to the effect of it ties into Internet Explorer.
Oh, yeah, that could be a problem.
And I'm guessing that an element of Explorer was removed or decommissioned, which is inhibiting that software from running.
Well, somewhere around June or July was the end of life for IE, and they said they would be removing it, so there's a good possibility it's been removed. Therefore, something in it that required in that piece of software, it no longer exists.
And that go ahead.
Yeah, what happened specifically was that in File Explorer, which would include your desktop and everything, some Internet Explorer components, especially the ActiveX ones, were replaced by components of Edge. And now Edge is used instead of IE.
Mm-hmm.
And programs have to be rewritten to accommodate that.
Right. And it's a headache in some instances, and you may have found one of the headaches.
I think so. It took me a while. It was just buried somewhere in the documentation someplace that it utilizes Internet Explorer, and I'm guessing that's the reason that particular software has stopped working on me.
Well, that's
I don't know for a fact, but it's just a summation on there.
It's
But this,
a lot of businesses had specialized software that required IE support, and that has been delayed, decommissioning that for 5 or more years. They were going to decommission it a long time ago. Businesses were up in arms. We rely upon it, and they don't want to pay developers to take those same pieces of software and adjust them to Edge.
right. So I don't know, but yes, Bert.
It seems to me, I remember seeing something that there was a compatibility mode in Edge for people that had IE stuff.
There is, but it may not solve all the problems.
Yeah, this particular software doesn't run in Internet Explorer. I believe what it does is it calls up a subroutine in IE, so that it probably has to do with how it generates the images that it's going to put up on the screen, utilizing whatever features in Internet Explorer or was in IE. But that's just that one. So we're going to put this software aside because I now realize it's not going to work, at least unless I hear from the developer that he's made some changes, which is too bad because I really like that particular software. But I'm back to Windows 10 Photo Screensaver. What happens is when I go and set this particular PC so that the screensaver will operate after 1 minute of non-use. After 1 minute, nothing. 2 minutes, nothing. 5 minutes, nothing. 10 minutes, nothing. The screensaver will never invoke. If I go to preview, it will run, and it runs successfully just fine. Just move the mouse while it's looking for the mouse to move, and then it won't break out of that preview. So it'll work that way, but it will not work when you try to use it as a screensaver. If I change to a different screensaver, those work.
You're talking about the built-in Windows 10?
Yes.
It requires that the files be in a certain format, and that the folder may need to contain some kind of a little control program.
Okay.
And that's what you may be missing.
You stated control program. I'm not sure.
You may be. I think you can use a folder of your own photos in Windows 10, and supposedly all this happens as a screensaver. But Windows 10 has to do a little something to integrate that folder into what it does. I have heard stories that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depending on where that folder is in your system, and depending on what the contents are and how many photos there are, things of that sort.
But it works in preview mode, but it does not work normally by itself. It won't initiate by itself.
Which would mean that as soon as it tries to exit the user session, it loses touch with something it needs.
Okay.
And it may be losing touch with where that folder is.
Okay. I don't know.
I have had this happen in Linux, for example, when the folder wasn't in the right system area.
To further along, I mentioned this last week too, is that if I change the speed in which it displays the photos, the program will not work at all. It won't work at all. It will only work in one speed setting, which is medium. So if I want to go slow, which is none of it gives you a time, it just says slow, medium, or fast. If I choose slow, it won't operate at all. nothing happens. If I choose medium, it will work when I hit preview. If it works, if I choose fast, it won't work at all. So I don't know what this Microsoft Photo screensaver. I've done all the tests that I could do, all the scenarios of how to make sure that my system is okay, running system file checker and DISM and all the checks and balances, check disk, blah, blah, blah. Nothing has solved this issue. So I'm just curious if anyone else had anything. Tim?
Offhand, I'll make a suggestion. Go to your start button in 10. Bring up the start screen. You have the menu of apps. Go down to feedback. Click in and first check to see if there's other people who've had an issue about this. If not, then, or none of them answer your issue, they want you to post stuff. This is a built-in feature to 10 and 11.
Okay.
And
Now how do I find this feedback again?
Start button. Look at the menu. It's in between the controls on the left and your start buttons on the right. You have the center application menu, and scroll down to F for, and the first item usually is feedback.
Well, let's see. If I do this and go down to, I'm looking at my start bar. And I see Feedback Hub. Okay.
That's right.
Got it. All right.
And there are a lot of Microsoft apps themselves within themselves that will also have a feedback option in there for that specific application. But they want you to research first to see if the problem already existed and maybe the solution. If not, then they want you to post all the information you can about the issue, the type of machine sometimes, and what version of the operating system, et cetera, et cetera. Put that information in. It may be a bug fix in the future or a security patch, or they'll get back with you how to solve the problem without the fixes.
Okay. I will follow up and do that on that particular machine. It's driving me nuts. Pete?
I had a situation come up on another machine that I keep around for a class I'm teaching in Arduino in a grammar school. And the Arduino program, with the new version, is a 64-bit machine. But Microsoft also has a version in its store as an app versus the download full version for the desktop that you've got to download from the source company, Arduino. The app would not allow me to install libraries, which are required in C++ for programming, if you're using a lot of different things. Basically, libraries are a bunch of subroutines that patch the basic program so that features in the accessories in the program can be pulled up and used. So I could do this, the basic stuff in the app that Microsoft provided on the store, but enable to add additional functionality. I actually had to uninstall that and go back to the original company, Arduino, and download the full version from them to put on the machine, and then I could do all the libraries. Just as a general information for you guys in case you run into something like that.
Okay. Thanks,
So is
Pete.
anybody else running anything like that?
No, but since the issue was with the Microsoft Store one, there's probably a feedback there that you need to provide them the information. It might be a bug that they can correct. This is you're talking 10 goes all the way back to 2015. It's been there, and almost nobody knows it exists, let alone to use it.
Yeah, because 99% of the people that actually install the Arduino IDE actually just go back to Arduino and put it in from there.
Well, that's a possibility to get, shall we say, the problem resolved. But I will say that it also means that Microsoft doesn't correct their problem because they may not know about it.
Yep. So I got another question. A while back, and I want to say a couple of months, and the discussion was about the security feature for that you need on your older machines to install 11.
TPM,
Yeah.
TPM2.
You remember about how far back that was? So I can pull back up the video.
Wasn't that last month?
No.
Then it had to be the month right before that, because it was fairly recent.
I think you'll have to watch them all.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And while you're at it, you can do Sanford a favor by putting a
And
time
write down
in.
what they are by minute, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, just in general terms, and tell me if
10
there's anything.
minutes or whatever,
Yeah, sure. Say these things were discussed, and
You got nothing else to do, especially since you're sick.
Oh. I'm dragging because my body says I need to drag. Yesterday I had an eye checkup, and they injected me with that damn dye,
Yeah.
and the body doesn't like. I'm not allergic to it or anything. The body just doesn't like it when it gets something foreign in it, and my body, which I know pretty well, says if you got something foreign working on you, you're gonna sleep it off. You're either gonna shit it out or you're gonna sleep it off. And that's the way my body works. I know that. So I got home from the appointment and I immediately took an hour and a half nap.
Wow.
This is at 11 o'clock in the morning. I took an hour and a half nap. Then I got up and I did the class for the grammar school, came back and took a 4 to 5 hour, had dinner, took a 4 to 5 hour nap.
Pete, you're going off topic here.
Okay.
I need to
I'm
hurry
still
up.
in time for you.
Okay. Nope, don't need to fill up time.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions for open forum? If not, we'll go into our topics for the evening.
It's just, what was it about TPM2 that Pete missed or wants to know?
I never installed TPM2 on my two Dells.
There are ways of telling the Windows 11 installer to go ahead and go through anyway and ignore the TPM requirement.
Right.
There's a registry thing.
Right.
And by the way, on Intel chips in the BIOS, you don't necessarily see the term TPM. There's something else, I think it's PPT, which they use,
That's one.
which is a software workaround, and it works just as well.
And there's an AMD version that's, I think, called FTP.
FTP?
FTPM, I think it is. AMD and Intel both have, in some, not all chips. For Intel, 8th generation to date, which is 12, some of the chips, not all of them, have a built-in TPM workaround. And AMD, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, some of their chips have a TPM workaround. If your chip is not one of those that has this workaround, you have to have a plug that plugs into the motherboard, and then you'll be compliant.
So you can actually put it onto an older machine then.
Oh, I've got a 2009 business class machine. It has TPM 1.2 module plugged into it. That's the way it came. I could pull that out and spend anywhere between about $20. Well, actually, no, I've seen some even cheaper than that. Maybe as low as $12 up to $50 for a TPM module. There's umpteen versions, different a number of pins. So you got to have the right one for your motherboard. You plug it into a socket, you're done. And then go into your BIOS. Now you might need a BIOS update because the current BIOS you have in the machine has no clue what TPM's all about. I've had to do that on some machines.
Okay, I put into the chat the document that I sent out in our email for our meeting notice that had some of the topics that we could go and explore. Please take a moment to peruse that if you have not already, and let's give suggestions on things we should go ahead and talk about.
Has anybody tried those Netflix codes? I know I have not.
The Netflix codes?
Yeah.
No. Has anyone?
That's what I'm asking.
I think you have to do those on a PC. Is that correct?
I don't remember. I didn't go into the article to check it out again.
Well, let's take a look.
What are the Netflix codes? What are we talking about?
They give you access to additional areas of videos that you can access that aren't not part of the normal subscription. You have to put in a code, and once you put in the code, supposedly you get access to that information.
Well, and to further that, Netflix has a very vast, large library that they accumulated, and for the sake of making things easier for people, they filter and restrict access to what you can see because they're trying to steer you in a direction. This is what we kind of think you want to watch, whatever it might be, or this is the products that we currently have available on our servers. But they do have a much larger collection that's out there. You just can't see it because it's not up on your display. Meaning when you're going to look for movies, they'll only show you, without knowing, let's say 30 movies or 50 movies, whatever it might be 20 movies. They're not showing you their vast collection of 10,000 movies. So these codes, apparently, you can enter them in someplace, and I don't know where. I've not read through this thing yet to see how to unlock these codes, but they'll give you access to more content.
The third paragraph. Yeah. In short, Netflix secret codes are a number that you can enter in the search bar to bring up specific categories. While they don't literally unlock hidden Netflix content, they do allow you to see the categories that you can't usually find by searching the traditional way.
You go.
Does that do this on a smart TV?
If it's got Netflix app on the TV, the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay. You're not loading anything new onto whatever the device is, you're in the app, the Netflix app, and you're putting in the search bar these specific codes. As they list down here, like action and adventure, you enter the code 1365 in the search bar, and it's going to show you a much broader assortment of programs that are in action and adventure. So yeah, I could see this. I haven't tried this.
I haven't either. I was just curious.
Boy, this is
the idea is this. Netflix uses your history of viewing to decide for you what choices to offer you. Otherwise, you get these tens of thousands of choices. And most people would find that very confusing. So to unconfuse you, they personalize it. Just like everything today is being personalized. These codes are a workaround to get around that personalization.
wow, this is a vast amount of list here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More
Wow.
than I thought.
But
Well,
then
I'd
again,
like to
this
be
is
able
all
to use
today.
them.
Well, you can. Just call up your Netflix app and try one of these codes and see what it does.
Yeah. Like I say, if you were presented with all of this every time you log in, you'd be overwhelmed.
Yes. Well, I don't log into Netflix like that. I have T-Mobile that gives me Netflix for free.
Right. But what you do is when you launch the Netflix app, there's a magnifying glass. That's for the search. And then you go into the
Yes.
search bar area and you put in these codes to see things that you normally would not see that you might be able to access.
Yeah, this is all made necessary and possible by the fact that Netflix has such a vast catalog. They have probably the largest catalog of anybody. Whereas, for example, I have Peacock and I have CW app. They only have a limited amount of stuff, so it doesn't get that confusing if you have to search through everything in a category. But if you do that with Netflix, you're going to be spending all day and all night.
Yeah. Well, is there a place that this would be at that I could just print off a page showing me all these numbers and I can put it aside?
They're on this page. They're on the page that I have up on the screen right now. Follow the link, and they're on there.
Well, and he put Sanford put a document in the chat box. You can download it. Also, your email that he sent out for the meeting contains the title and the URL to that article.
It's one of our topics. It's one of the listed topics. And what you would then do is just take this list and just put it into either a document or a spreadsheet.
Okay, so I'm testing this out right now. I opened up the Netflix app that I have running on my tablet, and I put in the search bar just one of these codes. And what it does is it shows you in their top results category, which is the very first category of movies and programs, is where they suddenly show up, and that's the selection in there. So it takes you directly to where you want to go to find this category. It's kind of, it works. It works just fine.
I'll have to look into that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, does it give me beaucoup amount of stuff? It still is limited on how many it's displaying in search results, but it sure is showing me the category that I'm looking for. And that might be too, is that maybe it wants to take you to TV horror. You want to watch some TV horror because it's Halloween time. It will pull you up those by putting in that code 83059 in the search bar. And sure enough, that's exactly what will show up. So what was that? 83059. And sure enough, there's TV horror, and I got lots of them. And I don't know how many it's showing me here. Probably about 30 of them. But it may go further down, and there may be more that's going to show up there too. So it does work. Good topic. So we've got Netflix codes. I'm making notes here.
right after Netflix codes is restore files with file history, and it says it's a way of also restoring deleted files or previous versions.
Takes me a while to type this stuff out. Okay, so we've got restore files. Look for that one.
It's right after the Netflix code.
Confusingly it involves photo app. No.
Pardon? Right after the Netflix one we just discussed, or shortly after it, is the restore file with file history.
I said not on the. Oh, okay. And this should be the correct one. Restoring files with file history. Has anyone done this before?
Not that specific one.
Okay, so I think you have to have file history turned on, and they discuss in here in a previous article how to do that.
And there's one other thing about file history. You now need to dedicate a drive to file history, and I think it has to be USB connected.
Ah.
Yeah, I know one person that needed my help had worked with somebody else, and they put a 1 terabyte flash drive in, configured for file history.
Does someone want to discuss what is file history?
It's all I know is it's a feature built into the system of Windows 10 and 11 that has supposedly the ability to restore a lot of stuff that might have gotten deleted accidentally or intentionally, and you say, "Oops, I deleted the wrong one."
It's sort of like a continuous backup type of thing.
Yeah, kind of like an ongoing incremental backup.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so you have to have backup using file history. Let me share this screen. So we need to have this turned on. This all I did was in my search bar, I typed in file history, and this box showed up. And I think I'll go on more options because I have it turned on. And I have it doing daily backups, keep them forever. And I have it do it right to my server. And it says, oh, my backup is going to be 845 gigs. Wow, that's a pretty big backup. Considering I don't think this drive is that big. I thought this is only a 500 gig hard drive. I don't remember how big my hard drive is.
It's a historical representation is what I understood. Therefore, it keeps growing just like the accumulation of all your Microsoft patches and updates that go into your system every month.
Sure. I should do this. Open this.
Well, it tells you the size of your backup is 845 gigabyte, but the very next line tells you your total space is 32 terabyte or 37 terabyte.
Well, that's on my server. My server's got, it's actually 41 terabytes in size. So it's pretty damn big. I don't mess around when it comes to that. Interesting that the backup size is 845, but I just confirmed I only have a 500 hard drive in here. So I'll go ahead and do the backup now. I think when is the last time I did a backup was, oh, today. I did one today.
Before you do that, scroll down and
Sure.
see if it lists all of your hard drives that are on that machine.
It's using all my C drives. So yes, it is only showing what's on my drive.
But it's only the C drive. It doesn't show the others. Okay.
Correct. I don't see any other drive letters up here.
I think it goes by user. So if you have multiple users on the system, it's only backing up the active one.
Okay, that could be too. Is that it could be doing that, and
It does give you a choice to go to back up a different drive too.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's like that one person that had a terabyte flash drive. If they got a NAS all of a sudden, which is like Sanford's server, then they could switch that over to put the backup information on that instead of the flash drive.
Yeah.
well,
Now,
I've never.
once we finish discussing among ourselves what we know and don't know about file history, I have something in chat from Computer World, which is an article that professes to talk about it and to talk about how to tame the storage appetite of file history.
Sure. Let me see. Are we done with this? I should go back to the sharing.
So I'm not going to try to read that whole article, but you should read that before you really try it, because it gives some of these caveats.
Okay, so here's the back to that article. So it talks about doing the actual restore function. And you could browse the history. These are all things that I haven't done. I've been doing the backups regularly, but I have not perused what's in there. I will say that these folders are growing and growing and growing in size on my server. Thank God I got a ton of space over there because it's not something I monitor. Once you get a lot of room, you really don't care about the junk you collect, and you just kind of sweep it under the rug and don't see it, right? So, and then when I run out of room, I go out and buy another drive and throw it in the server. So, isn't that what I'm supposed to do?
Well, now try to find that one email from 1986.
Oh, well, yeah, forget that. I will never be able to find those. And if it's that old, forget it. It's not that important.
I'll give you a hint. Use the utility everything.
Everything. Oh, tell us about that. What is?
Oh,
that basically replaces search indexing, so you can turn search indexing off on your drives. By the way, search indexing really slows down the operation of a Windows computer.
yeah, and I've usually turned it off because it's so slow when you're looking for something, and a lot of times you can't find what you're looking for, and everything is fast, and you can find just about anything and everything. That's why they call it everything.
Also, everything won't burn out your SSD, whereas indexing can.
Okay. Shoot.
Let me bring up the home page for that in my browser, then I'll put the reference in chat.
Sure. Are you finding it, Bob? Can't hear you, Bob. You're muted. Bob, you're muted.
What I was saying was, I have found it. I'm just copying,
Okay.
and we can move on.
Okay. All right. So this, you're going to send us the.
It's
the
just going
link?
to go into chat. That's all.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I've got it right now.
Good. Okay. So anyone else see a topic in there they'd like us to go over that was in my list?
Okay, there you go.
All right. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty. I'll share that screen so everyone can see what this is. And I put in what is this? Void Tools. And this is the Everything app that's available.
They have a parent company like everybody else these days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a slick little piece of software in it, and I even put it down on the taskbar. I don't think I can get. Yes, I can. You can also get rid of the old search feature that's built into Windows, and every time you click on the Everything search icon, it brings up a window that's kind of like File Explorer. Starts showing you everything, starting with numbers and then A's and B's, C's, etc. And it just starts asks you to type in what you're looking for, and within literally seconds, you might have exactly what you're looking for.
And you can either install it or use the portable if you want to just test it.
Is there an advantage of one over the other?
No.
Not
I think maybe the
advantage.
installed version is a little bit faster.
I mean,
Okay.
a portable one, hey, if you travel quite a bit, if you go and somewhere like your son's in Massachusetts or whatever, and you use his computer and he doesn't have it on there, you plug in your portable drive and use that in place of it.
Yeah, I would not want to be searching my son's hard drive for anything.
I understand.
But I totally get what you're getting at, Tim. It'd be like my son coming here and searching my hard drives. It'd be like, no, you don't do that.
No, you would use that on the server.
I totally get it. I get where you're going with Tim on this.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to install it into your server.
Right. By using the portable version.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this is pretty handy. I could see trying this out.
Oh, I was a little skeptical about it at first, but I've used it several times since I installed it. I've done it on a couple of machines, and I'll be adding it to even more machines because the darn thing works. And a lot of times I turn off the normal search indexing. By the way, besides going into properties of your drives like drive C, properties, there's a little thing down the bottom with a check mark net about indexing. You just unindex it by taking out the check mark. The bad part is you might as well go have dinner or lunch or something like that because it takes quite a while. But in addition to that, eventually you got to go into the services of Windows and turn off the indexing service. But it does save a lot of processing time, give you a little bit of oomph back. But usually most people, when they say the system's run too slow like you did initially, it's usually your startup items, and that includes scheduled jobs that you normally don't see. That's where I use Glare Utilities, and there's an optimize second item, and the first item there is to go into your startup, and the first two tabs, one is the regular startup, the other one is for scheduled tasks, and I go through those periodically, turning off things that don't need to run.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to turn stuff off, make sure you hide all the Microsoft stuff.
Well, in Glary, you don't have that. That usually comes into effect when you're using MS config and go to services there. That, yeah, there's a check mark down in the bottom left. You got to put one in or take it out, and it hides all the Microsoft services and only shows you the services for all the software you loaded into the Windows system. It's part of a debug operation. You would show all the non-Microsoft services and then click the disable button, and it disables all of them. And when you restart the machine, they're not running.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you might be able to get around a problem that is perplexing you.
Okay, new topic. From my list or from a different list.
What's this?
Okay.
How to reclaim hard drive space right after Ask Leo, which was above, in Windows 11 tools.
Why don't you pull it up?
Well, I'm on a different machine.
Okay.
I've got two machines going here. Well, shit, I got a lot of machines going here, but
All right, I get you. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for this one.
it's right after that Ask Leo article that we first did.
You mean about the Netflix?
No, about restore file history. It's right after it.
Okay, right after that one.
It's up towards the top.
Deep dive settings, tools to find and reclaim gigabytes of lost hard drive space. Okay, got it.
That work on 10 as well?
It doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't say that is right.
Some of the tools could be the same on both. I'm not guaranteeing anything.
Okay, so how to reclaim hard drive space using Windows 11 tools. Deep dive into settings. Let's see. It talks about how they build it up, how to reclaim. So we need to go to the system menus.
In 11.
Click on the start button in 11, which I do not have 11. So
it's most of the tools will probably still be there in 10. Yeah, storage sense is one of them.
Storage management is is the first one they have. You have that in 10.
Yes.
So I hit the start bar, and where am I finding system?
I search for storage. And on the left-hand pane, probably the top item will be storage management, or it's just below storage sense.
Storage settings.
Yeah.
And
storage settings.
Let me share this screen. Come on. Oh, it should be sharing the right screen anyways. So this one showed up here. Everyone's seeing my, oh no, that's.
This is the browser we're seeing.
You're only seeing Sorry, you're not seeing my settings.
No, you'd have to go to stop and reshare.
Yeah, I got it. There you go. All right. Now I have this up on my screen. I'm not looking at the other parts of it. Someone want to guide me through here? What it says in the article? Or do I got to pull this back up? I'll pull it back up. Let's see what they say. Scroll down left-hand side of screen settings, select the entry label storage Windows 11 for survey, the attached drives, blah, 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 blah. Storage sense, okay.
You'll have to back up from storage sense to storage. Just where they've got the little caret arrow, you just back up one and you are, yeah, you've got that screen.
Okay.
And you're basically doing temporary files.
Right.
Because you might, you know, when you've got a lot of time, you might clean up apps and features. But I don't think you want to be cleaning up your desktop too much.
I don't see what I'm supposed to be. Will automatically delete temporary files. The next entry in storage management is cleanup recommendations.
Yes. You can click each of the categories that's listed under there to see what it's talking about for the amount of storage it shows off to the right side of that area. Like for desktop right now, I got 104 gigabytes. Well, what is that 104 gigabytes? It'll show you.
Ah, okay, and then I can view the desktop. And that's showing me all my folders. Got it. All right.
Yeah, we aren't seeing that pop up, but you saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it, correct. So that,
and another thing about storage sense, I keep the storage sense turned off because I don't like the way they configure it, and it's not configurable in enough detail for my taste. I usually just periodically go in here, click on the temporary files, and see what's there.
And right above the, right below the switch there on Storage Sense has the configuration.
Yeah.
Are you seeing my configuration Storage Sense?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, good. All right, so I have it turned on. I also have delete temporary files that aren't being used. Deleting if they're over 30 days old in my recycle bin.
Right.
Delete files on my download folder. I have that set to never because sometimes I like that's a good place to store stuff. And I'll manually go through and purge that out. Locally available cloud content. Consider I don't use iCloud.
You don't have that on your machine?
From Apple's iCloud?
Right.
I might have it turned on. I believe I do. And
That's
I say I believe because it's not something I really pay attention to.
Yeah, but it's something you may have.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's iTunes loads that in automatically, the iCloud function.
Oh, yeah.
I don't particularly post stuff up in the Apple's iCloud.
Yeah, but what you got to make sure of is that it isn't deleting stuff from iTunes that you don't want it to delete, because it's set to delete anything over 30 days old if it hasn't been opened.
Right. That could be. And that's in Photos.
That's iCloud Photos. And
Right.
it's cloud content, and it's different from your Photos folder.
Right.
So you might want to check and see whether it's getting rid of stuff you don't want it to get rid of. Although I think it's only the local downloads that it's doing.
So in the last thing it has here, it says, clean up now. But this runs periodically by itself.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is not something that I should need to do to invoke, correct?
Normally,
you won't.
That's true.
All right. So I'm not making any changes on there.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me go back here for a second. Bob, you said there's some settings in there that you don't like. Could you elaborate a little on there? What on this screen is it you don't like?
I don't like that it might automatically delete something
Mm-hmm.
And that could be at very irregular intervals, but it always gets done. Your setup may be different. I don't know anything about how the cloud content behaves.
Yeah, I don't know at all. I really wasn't paying attention to the iPhotos because I don't even realize that I had this setting turned on here, and I don't even know what I could be posting through iCloud Photos. It's going to be stuff that's coming from my phone, which I don't back up to this PC very often. So I don't know what it could be deleting.
You can also mark anything you really want to save, any folders you want to save, as always keep on this device. I think you can do it folder by folder.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, in this particular case, I'm going to change iCloud Photos to never.
At least until you investigate what it would do.
Right.
Then you can decide.
So what it looks like from what I'm reading there is they will keep it on their server, but remove it from your machine.
Right. It's local storage of downloaded content. So if it's downloaded.
Even iClouds.
Right. It's still up in the cloud.
And under the categories there's a show more categories, so there's other areas you can add to this.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have desktop music, system and reserved, apps, features, and under more we had documents, pictures. And I know this is all ambiguous over here anyways. Maps, other people. What is that? Mail?
Those are categories Microsoft makes up for Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know their picture ones the picture folder is only what I would put in pictures. I don't put very much in the pictures folder. I put it in individual folders and I name them what they are.
Right.
So it doesn't really know everything that's on my desktop. A lot of it's in my desktop. My desktop, you see, is 104 gigs. And that's because I have a lot of folders with photos on my desktop that are waiting for me to process.
Oh.
I have
you could add those folders if you ever wanted to.
Right. I have tens of thousands of photos on my desktop that I need to process. I'm so far.
And also, if you have these other special folders, they might show up under other if they're not on your desktop.
Right.
If they are on your desktop, you might want to look at it.
So let's see what else they state here in this article. That could be done. Temporary folders or temporary files.
Yeah.
It displays things in here a lot different than what it does in the Windows 10 version.
Yes, 11 is a little more modern than 10 is.
It looks like the Windows Update cleanup, they moved from where we would do an update cleanup from the C drive, from properties, they moved it to here.
Well, in 11, if you go down the bottom of the list on the left side, it will show you update. Well, under update, there's only one thing there, not about 10 or so categories like in the old 10. Makes a big difference.
Right. So what are they? Are they removing some of the features that
they just moved them? Most of what was under update moved into the systems folder category.
Okay.
Of settings.
So they moved where they're reporting this information. Right? That's what they've done. They didn't eliminate it, they just moved where they're reporting it.
Right, and or where you find it to access it and make changes to settings.
Okay. So I guess if you're using Storage Sense and you have it turned on, a lot of these functions are being taken care of in the background.
Yes.
If you are not using Storage Sense, such as Bob is doing, then you may want to run some of these processes in a manual function if you feel that's what you want to do, right, Bob?
Yes, and if you want the old disk cleanup, just go to your search box and type in cleanup. It will show you a link to disk cleanup. And you'll
Okay.
probably run that as administrator.
Yes. You have to run it as administrator, and it's a two-step process. It looks for general stuff, the first search, and then they have an advanced button. When you click on that, it expands to things like old versions of Windows from an upgrade that you ran, dump files, and other things like that from blue screens of death and so forth. And it's more in depth, but it's a two-step process.
Okay. All right, this was a good one. We can stop this one. Next topic. What else do we have on here?
Second one from the bottom. What is that?
Second one from the bottom that says Zoom Auto Updater. Oh yeah, what is that? Let's, Tim, you wanted to discuss this one, so I will let you take over. Oh, you can't do it from your system. Wait, what the hell is this? Sign in, Gmail.
One thing I can tell you about that auto updater in my Zoom free account is it did not detect the latest update.
Well, if this is what I think it is that Sanford's trying to do is it's a document I sent him that I made up when I checked out Zoom, and under settings there's a new auto updating function, and I'm even wondering whether it will automatically update or not, and what the hell the schedule might be. But
you can choose. If you're like I am on the slow schedule, it won't show every dot version.
Right.
But you can change that.
But it's a case where most people, they've been promising the auto update feature for a long time, and this is the first time I found it.
Okay, I finally got to your document here. Sorry. And share screen. There you go. Okay, Zoom auto updating. So I had noticed that I thought this feature was incorporated because I've seen it do an update when I've shut down Zoom on occasion, but I don't always pay attention to it. Apparently, if you sign into your Zoom account, which is free, and we're all using the free version except for CCS administrators, and then you go to General. And towards the bottom, in General, you'll have the Zoom updates automatically keep Zoom desktop up to date. You may want to check that one.
Now, on that one there, it shows slow, but there's a drop down. You can select fast. Fast is like a lot of different pieces of software, including the Insider's program for Microsoft. Fast would be developers channel with Windows, whereas slow would be the beta channel. It's more stable, and you don't have as many flaws show up. So you have to take it with a grain of salt that if I go to fast, I'll get new features, but you also may have the application crash on you or have other maladies show up.
So it says slow is the more stable and fewer updates, and fast is the latest and greatest, the new stuff, but it may have errors in it.
Yeah.
In other words, if I go to my Zoom About right now, I've got 5.12.2.92.81. I just got that today. You might not want that because it might not be stable yet.
Right. That's what this is all about. If you're like having the fast channel on this update versus the slow channel.
Now, I haven't gotten any instabilities, but it could happen.
Yep.
And we don't, in our cases, we don't want it to happen during a meeting. So, but this is an interesting feature. This is all it takes is go in and make sure you have Zoom update turned on, and then choose this slow one as a recommended, and look, then close it out. And next time you run Zoom, hopefully at the end of the session, it will do an update instead of like Windows that does it when you're booting up. Pain in the ass.
Hey, as long as you get the update, at least that's half the battle.
Right. So let's see.
Now, in Windows, I have ways that I use to control the updates. The latest way of controlling feature updates is just a little app that you download from Gibson Research and click on it. And you won't get the feature update as soon as it's offered. You get it when you want it. And you can do the same sort of thing with the monthlies. Just don't forget to get them eventually.
Okay. So Bob, how did you find out what version of Zoom you were running?
It'll tell you right at the bottom of the screen.
I actually, in the latest versions, you'll have a tray icon that says Zoom. And it may be hidden. You may have to unhide it.
Okay.
You right-click on that. And the right click says join meeting, share screen, which is grayed out right now. And it's got sign in, it's got settings, switch languages, then check for updates. And then it's got about. About, when you click on it, brings up a little square that shows your version.
If you take your regular installed Zoom client and you start it up without activating anything, without going in to your free account, or joining in an existing meeting, right at the bottom edge of that little window is your version number, period. And
if you go to where it says stop video and click up, and then you go to the video settings, and under video settings, go to statistics, and it'll show you there.
Video settings, statistics.
Well, I was telling you the version number,
there it is.
How to see it.
Hey, Bob, what version you say you were running?
5.12.12.2. 5.12.2, 9281.
I'm still on 5.11.
I'm on 12.
I'm on 12.
5.12.0 is considered the stable one.
Yeah.
And I have mine already set to automatically keep Zoom update. So I have that set.
And it's probably set to slow because that's the default.
Yeah, to slow. That's correct.
Okay.
How are you guys seeing this? I did the stop of video, and I'm not.
The carrot on video.
The carrot to the right of stop video. Click on it. It shows you select down below video settings.
It says video settings, correct.
And then click on video settings and box, go down to statistics.
Well, first start in general. Go up to stay at general and make sure you click on the automatic Zoom updates.
Well, I'm at the settings right now that you told me with the carrot. Is that still?
Yes.
Down the statistics. I'll click on that one.
Yeah.
And that will tell you your version number, Tom.
5.11.1.
Okay, you're on the same as me. Now go up to General.
General. Oh, at the very top. Okay.
Okay, and then when you click on General, look off to the right-hand side and see if under the category of Zoom updates, do you have that checked?
Start. Yeah, Zoom updates is checked.
And you have it set the channel slow.
Yes.
Okay, you're good.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
You're good. You don't have to do anything. You could start your video so we could see you again unless you don't want us to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty ugly, but you're going to see me.
Oh, man, no, don't start it now.
There you go.
There we are.
I
You got
usually
that Halloween
check.
face back on.
Well, Tom,
Um,
you're at least all set for Halloween.
Yeah, I'm a pumpkin.
Just make sure they don't smash you.
There you go.
I won't use a candle, though. I'll have a laser, so be careful.
All right, does anyone else have any things in our list that we should go over?
Well, I don't have anything on your list, but I do have a quick question.
What's that?
It probably has nothing to do with this whole connection here, but I do have a phone that I'd like to be able to clean up. I have found C Cleaner for the phone, an Android phone. Before I use it, I'm going to get my pictures off it because it says it will clear it. The pictures, is that the way to go about doing it, or is there something you could suggest?
What is your end purpose here? To just
Well,
archive the phone, or to give it away, or get rid of it?
No, I like the phone. I just want to clean it up. I haven't done nothing with it, and I've had it for a long time. So there's probably a lot of garbage out there.
Anyone want to comment?
You should back up your phone. Remember that smartphone is a computer first and foremost. If you happen to subscribe to a carrier for their cell service, then you can make and receive phone calls, make and send and receive SMS text messages. But as a whole, those are add-ons to the basic computer.
Yes.
So Tom,
you gotta back
this
them up.
isn't Tom, this is an old phone that you're archiving, right?
Well, no, it's the phone I'll continue to use. I have no problems with it, but it's usually a good idea to keep things as clean as possible. And
Okay.
I have done nothing with it except use it. And it's my internet connection also. That's how I'm talking to you guys right now.
So the question is, does anyone here have any experience with anything like C Cleaner for a phone?
On the phone, I have none, but like I say, it's like any computer maintenance. You might want to back up before you start doing your maintenance of updating your applications, cleaning out old files, some kind of security checks and tune-ups. And if everything's a-okay, you can make another backup and blow away the prior backup. But at least if something gets screwed up, you have a way of getting that old stuff back just the way it was.
Sounds like it's not worth the trouble because it's working fine and it's about 80% of the phone is still empty and ready to go.
Then don't worry about it. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leave it alone. It's not, in this case, I'll say it's not broken.
No.
Don't fix it. You're a low usage person. Just let it keep humming along until you're ready to move over to a new piece of hardware. And then you could either do a reset on it or you can archive the phone for later use.
Yeah, okay. The only thing I do is take some pictures, but then I'll move them off and clear them out of there.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing to do. For many people, they take the pictures on the phones and that's where they sit. It's a good idea to pull those pictures off and put them someplace else beside your phone.
Right.
Yeah, well, I put them on my computer and put them in picture files and back them up from there.
There you go. That's the right thing. It's got to be at a place you can view them, which is why I run that photo screensaver thing. So I can see the pictures I've taken on our phones, and my wife's phones, and our phones.
Yeah, when they're kind of some strange pictures. No, not X-rated, but when I was in the hospital for EEG, I have some real strange ones with wires all over my head, and I get a chuckle out of them. That's all.
Oh, hey, listen, that's documenting the moment, if you will.
Well, yeah, but they're interesting shots. That's all.
They're good things, and also, you might take a screenshot of, a particular display that's being presented to you at the hospital. Could be the equipment giving you your heart rate or your EKG or something like that. And you take a picture so you can reference back to that. That's good reference information to have. So, yeah, I just leave it alone. That's my opinion.
Okay, I'll do it that way.
Pete?
Yeah, I would highly recommend that you back up at least your contact off the phone. That's the one thing that will hurt you the most if you lose the phone without having a backup.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
true. Yes. Thank you.
On my Apple phone, it automatically backs up to the cloud when I plug it in, to charge.
Okay. Also,
I use the magnetic backup on mine so it doesn't go back.
if you use iTunes, which you probably should use iTunes on a local PC.
Yeah, I've done that too.
And then sync your phone to that iPhone. That is your local backup.
Yeah.
Of your entire contents. That I recommend. Now, other people may not, but I recommend doing that. If you can, weekly, if not bi-weekly, at the least case scenario, once a month, because then the entire content is backed up.
Okay, I'll have to figure out how to back up the phone, but that wouldn't
You're
take.
on Android?
It's an Android, yes.
Yeah. There was a device that we found that I found it on Amazon. That's a USB stick that you could plug into your phone, and it has particular software on it that it will automatically do a backup of your phone to that local USB stick.
Yes, and there's ones like that for the Apple product as well.
Right. Yeah, the one for the Apple is the one I have. I'm trying to think on Amazon and Android.
I'll find it.
USB backup thumb drive.
It's a little pricey though.
What was that?
It's a little pricey.
Yeah, well, it depends on your phone. Now, here's $20 for a 512 gigabyte. Of course, that's on sale today, right now, if you're a Prime member. So, but that works. $26, $20, $27. It depends on how big you need of a drive. But they do make them, and if it's something you needed, go on Prime Day and go get it today. It's going to be cheaper.
And not only that, but if you're not a Prime customer, they have a very short-term application that you can pay that's nominal and use it for at least 30 days.
Right. Oh, for them. Get a Prime membership for 30 days and then get rid of it.
Yeah.
Sure. But Tom, you're a member, just hop on there, go search for it. Again, things are cheaper today and tomorrow than they will be in a couple of days. And maybe not very much, might be $5, but hey, $5 is, that's a gallon of milk these days, or a dozen eggs.
Well, you know, I can be a cheap son of a gun. I bought the watch and paid $120 overall and saved myself from 560. So I know how to be cheap.
I say you're among friends in this group.
Yeah.
So,
We are a thrifty bunch.
Yeah,
We
I'll
are
look.
a
Thank you.
thrifty bunch.
back up. All right. Anything else? I do have before I conclude this, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down for the recording, but I can shut this down for the recording.
Recording stopped.
But I do want to apprise the group that next month in November, this meeting falls on Election Day. I will not be available as I am an election judge, and I won't be available to run the meeting that day. So I'm soliciting the group to find out, do you guys want to do this on the Monday before, the week after, the Monday before, or Wednesday, the day after our scheduled day, or a week later? Do we have a preference?
Week later.
I'm sorry,
Week
Wayne?
later.
A week later. Okay, one for a week later.
Does that collide with South Suburban?
Ooh, good question.
Does it?
Let's see, you're talking November the 8th is election?
Yes.
Okay.
November 8th is election day, so that would be the 15th. And
15th would be Southside group.
All right, so it would have to be either the 7th or the 9th.
I'm for the 9th because I'm busy on all Monday afternoon.
Okay, so anyone else want to comment on the 9th? I'll say the 9th sounds good.
That works.
Okay with me.
Okay.
All right, we're going to do that for November 9th then.
And make sure you put in the announcement rescheduled to Wednesday the 9th.
Right, I will.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Wednesday evening the 9th, I might end up with a conflict.
Okay.
But if the rest of the group has strong feelings that the 9th is their preference, that would be okay with me.
Okay.
For
All
me,
right.
the 7th would actually be easier. That's just me.
Okay. So we got one person on the 7th. Yes, one person, or on the 7th, no, and one person on the 9th, no.
Doesn't matter
we'll
to
make
me. 7th or 9th is fine.
Okay. I guess between now and then I'll make an executive decision and let you guys know what happens on there. Watch your meeting notices. I will say goodbye to everybody, and we'll see you at the next meeting, which will be next Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Southside.
Bye, everybody. Have a